Welcome back to Open Studio. I'm Steve Leahy. How are you all doing? Okay, we are rolling. We are rolling right along. So we're going to do this little block here in the front. I think that's what we talked about last week. So we're going to do there's basically well, you guys can see it in the reference. There's looks like a bunch of little shops in the front, and then there are bigger buildings in the back. So we'll do the foreground buildings first and then kind of work from there. So this is usually things are background to foreground for me, but on something like this where it's so dense as far as the information goes and how everything's layered, I can kind of do a little bit of both, whatever really makes sense. We are going here. So I decided that I can make out, there we go. I can make out some of the little buildings. So I'm going to go easy on myself and just kind of make a quick little template for this. Again, this just helps me kind of throw things in. And with this same template, I'll be able to kind of block in this bigger white building up above too at the same time. So how is your week going? Wednesday, when this airs, it's going to be mid-February-ish. So hope your February, whatever. Hope your month is going well. I can't talk. Again, it's random when I film these, and I haven't talked at all yet today, really. So the words aren't coming very quickly. Try to get better. I don't have a soapbox for today. We'll try to come up with something. Yeah, since I'm doing this, I'm gonna kind of cut out the bigger buildings as well. Might as well block them in now since I'll have a little bit of white in the brush. Yeah, what's going on this week? Regular old stuff. I've just finished a new painting. I'm really excited because I've got a great frame for it. What I try to do a lot with paintings is especially the background, but also the frame. I try to tie it all together. I try to make sure the frame has something very specific to the painting. So for this painting here, the background is going to have broken up stone from Tokyo. And for this new painting, I did it of an interior shot of the Butler Institute of American Art. And here's what the painting looks like. So you're looking down the hallway, it was in the morning before the museum was open, and looking at the Audrey statue at the end of this long hallway. And she's really tall. She's probably 12 feet tall. Big sculpture. You can get a sense of the scale from the doorway there to the lower right. So in finishing that painting, I wanted a real specific background for it. So I have some marble pieces from the floor of the Butler, which were just like broken pieces. I talked to the gentleman who's in charge of all the maintenance, and people are, over the years, people have bumped into the, the edging on the tile and things like that. So they had a lot of broken pieces that they couldn't use. So I grabbed a couple of them. So the background of this painting is going to have the broken, kind of crushed up marble that you see there on the floor, which is going to be great. But I also got a frame from the Butler's collection, which is nice. There was a frame that wasn't being used. It was actually sent as a sample for another collection that they ended up getting all the frames for, and they're up. I don't know why I'm cutting out all these. Just having fun, I guess. So the frame is from 1961, and it was sent as a sample for this collection that they have right now. And so the frame looks like it was used once, but it's an odd size. It's like 5.5 by 7.5. Now, that works out really well for me because the painting is 2.5 by 4.5 inches, so it's exactly proportional. So I'm really, really excited. Talked to the director of the museum. We worked it out, and the museum is nonprofit, so it has to be, they will never, they can never sell artwork to individuals. However, this is not artwork; it's just a frame, so it worked out really, really well. So this painting will be framed in a frame from the Butler, and it'll have the marble from the Butler and, of course, the images from the Butler as well. So it'll be kind of a complete package. So I'm excited about that. That's this week's excitement. All right, how are we doing on this? Am I totally not doing what I'm supposed to be doing? I know I'm working on this front part, but since I'm going to have white in the brush, I figured it'd be a good chance to kind of spread out a little bit. Okay, I think that'll be good. Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, I love the beginning of the year. I mean, I usually have stuff going on all the time. There's always, if a new painting pops up, or an idea for a new painting, I'll jump on it whenever. But the beginning of the year especially is exciting because I try to clear the deck and kind of get everything ready for the upcoming year. Any new paintings, that kind of thing. And so a lot of the new stuff happens, at the beginning of the year. And I'm not a big, New Year's resolution kind of person. Like, if it needs to get done, it needs to get done, and that's pretty much it. But it's also nice to kind of have that catch-up mechanic in a way, where a lot of other companies and shows and all kinds of stuff is based off of the new year. So for me to be prepared for that is also good. I'm just really making sure this is lined up because I can see some goofiness going on here, but we're going to be good. We're going to be good. Okay. Drop a magnet on that, and I could see some of the previous spray-ins, which is good. So I'm going to see if Editing Steve can put in an image or a link to what I've been calling the community post. I think they call it, YouTube calls the community page something different now. And I think that's why people are having a hard time finding that post. But the post is where you're going to just give me a suggestion for soapboxes. If you see something, that I'm doing and I haven't explained it real well, or you have for some reason you have an interest in my take on something that's going on in the art end of it, you could just drop it in there, and I'd be happy to spout off about whatever it is for a half an hour. All right, so this is opaque white. Nice and light, just real light layers. You'll also notice did I have it for the last one? I don't think so. I changed the wet palette parchment. And I'm really excited because, that's on the right spot. That's kind of crappy. Get that out of the way of the camera. There should be a light right there. There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm pretty excited because I actually made a mistake and ordered the wrong stuff. So I ordered the XL reusable hydration membranes for this, and I thought I was ordering the foam pads for underneath. So when it came in, I'm like, that's not what I wanted. I misordered, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, I'll try it anyway. And I really, really like them. So the difference between this hydration sheet and the other one's like parchment. This one has like kind of a slicker surface to it. It still works the same way. It draws the water up through, but it's not like that thin parchment that the other one was. So I think I have stumbled across something by accident that really is working out well, which is always good. You know, when you make a mistake like that, it's like, ah, crap, you know, now what do I do? But this really worked out well. Oh, I know, you can't see it, but I was looking at the lines in this building, and they don't make me happy. So I'm going to stew on that for a little bit. I'm going to keep rolling forward and see if that bothers me enough to have to fix it. Right now it doesn't. You know, it's not terrible. And that boils down to return on investment. You know, if I take the time to go ahead and repaint that one building that I just showed you, is the result of that going to be enough for the painting to warrant the time? Like, we're already in hour 18, I think, in this painting. You could literally work on a painting like this nonstop for the rest of your life by just continuously refining and going back. But you know, there's a point where you know what you're doing isn't making a big enough impact, and the time is just being wasted, essentially. All right. I'm still concentrating on this. Should I lock in that red building too? That brickish colored building? I really should. Then I can kind of do this whole little block right here. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I still have white in the brush, which is good because I can use that as kind of a primer for this. So one thing I can soapbox about, how much time do we have left? I want to make sure I have enough time to kind of get into this. It's always been kind of a back and forth between art styles. You know, it seems like everyone is working to defend what they do, the style of art that they do. I'm going to see if I can get away with using this template. I can't. It's far enough away. So they all, you know, you end up defending what you do, and also trying to explain it so that, you know, people understand it. So this is true with what I've seen. It's true with almost every style of art, meaning like the abstract artists are always having to explain their work to people who don't understand abstract art because of what it is. You know, it always bugs me when I hear it and people say, oh yeah, you know, I don't know why, but why that is the way it is. But it's like with abstract art, it's like, oh, my 4-year-old could do that. And you can't really say that until you know like what's going on with the piece. So I feel bad that abstract artists have to defend their work in that way all the time, because oftentimes, and again, there's good artists and there are artists that are not as good. So, you know, the good artists have spent a lot of time with whatever style of art that they have chosen, and there's a lot of time and effort that goes into producing successful work and all that fun stuff. So to just kind of look at it real quick and not understand it and say, yeah, my kid could do that, that's not cool, really. What I find interesting is, though, a lot of in every style of art, as with just about everything in what we do, people who believe that whatever they're doing is the best, some people will also talk down to people who aren't doing what they're doing. And I have seen this with abstract artists, especially. And it's funny, they always have. I know I'm focusing on abstract art, and it's not fair, but it's what comes up a lot because it seems to be opposite, directly complementary to what I do. So with my style of art, it's photorealistic or you know, really representationalist, and I try to have it as an accurate narrative of what I'm looking at. Where an abstract artist doesn't even want to necessarily tell a story. They just want to evoke an emotion in what they're doing. So it's totally opposite. So some abstract artists will look down on photorealists. Oh, I didn't even want to do that. Need to keep that there. Because, you know, for whatever reason, they feel that it's too literal, it's just copying, whatever it could be. And on the other side of that, they, like an abstract artist has to defend their work against people saying that their kid could do it. So it's like, it's crazy to me that people spend a lot of time doing that. Like, I don't know, what am I looking for? A brush. I like the back and forth, really, as long as it's done in a respectful way. Meaning, if these people are like, I don't have any time for someone looking down on someone else's work because it's not the same style as theirs. You know what I mean? Like, if you're an artist in any style, if you're even photorealistic, or hyper realistic artist, and you're looking down on everything else because it's not as it's not as good as what you do, then that's crap, because then you're just shutting yourself off from other experiences and learning different things. But yeah, what am I doing? Oh, okay. I'm mixing up a little bit of a kind of a brick red color to get this thing shifted over. So I painted that white first as a little primer. That way I'll just be able to add the what did I pick? Carmine to it. Yeah, so where was I going with that? As I get distracted by myself. So yeah, I really like the back and forth between them, and even if it is like, oh hey, what I do is better than what you do, so let's talk about it. I like that too, as long as, like I said, with everything, it's a little bit of respect in there too. Like if you're coming at it just to fight, then that's a whole other thing. You can go, pound sand for all I care. But no, if it's like, oh, hey, this is really, this I love this and this is awesome and this is why, it's, then that's a different kind of conversation. So this happens a lot in art where it's kind of, because it's so subjective, there's this, what is it? I don't know if it's good art, but I know what I like, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of that. And I feel I can defend what I do pretty well in the light of that, which makes it fun to talk about that kind of stuff. So the way it goes normally for me, especially if, like, I'm kind of talking about someone who does abstract art, because it is really the opposite to me in a lot of ways to what I do. The way I look at it is, and this is my illustration background, I want to tell the story, and I want to tell the story as accurate as I can. I got to look at the clock because I could do this all day. So my thing is storytelling. I have this image that either I was there or someone was there, and I want to tell that story as accurately as possible. That looks good. To every detail, and I want the person looking at it to not have to work to necessarily fill in the gaps. I want them to have all the information so that all they have to do is feel the emotions from that story. You know what I mean? It's like being there. You're not, if you're really there, you're not looking at a blurry sign thinking, oh, that's what this sign says. I want to give you that so that you don't have to think about it, and you can just feel that moment. You can feel the temperature in the air, the humidity, I want you to be able to feel that. Now on the other side of that, and this is what I've been, in talking with abstract artists, that again, they're not telling that story. It's just a way to like, just kind of give you a feeling, and it's something totally different, which is interesting to me. Like, I don't know why then people would argue about which one is better, but it seems like whenever someone has a problem, or not problem, but whenever I get a comment from another artist that's really like, why don't you just take a picture of it? It seems to always come from people who do more abstract-ish art. And I know that seems like a blanket statement, but it really, in the 40 years that I've been doing this, it's usually that, It's interesting. It's interesting because again, it's different ways of kind of getting the same thing done. We're all looking for a way to instill a feeling from someone, and we all have different ways of doing that when it comes to art. One thing though, one thing I really really love, and this was from Louis Meisel, who was just who really he coined the phrase photorealism back in the 70s. So what I'm going to do is I'll try to talk and do this at the same time. Now that I've got enough of this in, I can start filling in the blanks. So you guys have seen enough of this. You know what's going on. So Louis Meisel once said that a photorealistic piece of art that's hanging in a gallery never needs explanation. Like if you're looking at this, you know what you're looking at. You don't have to say, well, this is this and that's that. But a lot of other art isn't like that. You need the explanation. And again, I say that where an abstract artist would come back and say, well, no, for that piece of abstract art, for instance, there's a lot of it that doesn't need an explanation. You don't want an explanation of it. You want to just experience it. You want to walk away from this thing with your own feelings about it. And again, like I said, that's why I'll never argue with someone that one style is necessarily better, because that right there, that's the goal for me as well. Like I want someone to walk away from it with a feeling, whatever that feeling may be. And for me, it's not trying to give a message. I don't want someone to understand something or realize something. I just want them to be able to be in that moment with me, and then whatever they feel. Like someone may look at this Tokyo painting and have been to Tokyo and had a really, really bad time, and it creates all these negative feelings or memories about, their awful time they had in Japan or whatever. And for me, yeah, I don't want someone to feel bad when they look at my stuff, but if it instills that kind of strong emotion, then I really did my job. I gave them enough of the information, or all the information that I could give them, so that they could just be blasted back, and that's to me, that's really powerful. So this is kind of a sideways soapbox, because again, this subject has so many layers and so many so many just different ways to come at it. But again, bottom line, and I'm not going to do that this week, meaning use old paint. Oops, folder. Need to be there. I was watching last week's video with you guys, and I'm looking at myself trying to struggle through with nasty dried up white paint, and I'm like, what is he doing? I'm like, just put out another drop of paint. So you guys can yell at me if I do that. The bottle of paint here cap is dried up too. There we go. So yeah, I mean, I really love it. And especially for me, if I see a piece of art that I really, really don't understand, I'll use it in quotes, it's supposed to be important, or it is important in the art world, and I don't understand why. I like that, because then it's my job to figure out, what people are talking about. And that's good, that helps me grow as an artist, understanding more things. And, like I talked about last week with Keith Hansen, getting inspiration from the fashion world. Even though I'm not going to paint abstract art in my lifetime, because it doesn't really interest me as well, if I understand what's going on with that, and again, like we talked about, if I can incorporate something from that in my work, now not necessarily, pulling abstract and realism together, which is kind of interesting, but who knows, maybe that would be it. But being exposed to it and understanding it for real is the important part. Do I want to put these windows in? Probably not. I don't want to get into trouble there. And I'm just kind of working on this whole area now. I was talking about just doing this front row and then doing the back row, but it's working out. It's working out and I'm here. That one is, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, so that's, to jump back to last week, that's the way that you get out of a funk too. If you are having a hard time and can't seem to get the ball rolling, sometimes it takes like just like slamming the wheel to the left or right, and in that way, like you just go look at or pick up some other type of art that is not even close to what you like or what you want to do, and put a little bit of time in trying to understand it. And by doing that, it's gonna break you away from the other stuff that's just kind of got you stuck. Really, you can you can really challenge yourself that way, and that will sometimes open doors that you wouldn't even expect. And again, it's not saying, okay, I'm gonna look at a certain type of art and then I'm gonna do that art. It's not that. It's more like, okay, if I understand it, it might spark something in what I'm doing that I could push myself in a little bit different. What is that? Weird. Push yourself in a way that you wouldn't think. I can't get that out of here. What is that weird piece of hair? So I do that also, looking at other styles of art. Yeah, I got to get that out of here. It's just not coming off. I do that when I want to also, if I'm feeling complacent on what I'm doing, like if everything's going good, then I'll still do that. This is the double knife blade grab for the hair. So I'm going to put this dull blade underneath the hair, and this one goes on top of the hair, and I should be able to, there we go. Yeah, pull it right off. That wasn't really hair from the brush. That was just kind of a piece of dust or something. So yeah, so if I want to keep myself in check, it's easy to look at other artists that do what I do to get that done. But sometimes if you look outside of what you do, and it can really inspire you in that you find like the top artists in whatever other style you feel like checking out. It can really kind of set your head in the right way pretty quick. And then of course, always, like I said, if you go ahead and if you're feeling comfortable and you need to kind of step out a little bit and shake it up, then yeah, you look at the other artists that are like really top in the style that you're doing. And that, I always say it, there's always someone better than you or farther along on where you want to be. There's always someone who's farther behind than you too. So that plays into that as well. Like if you're feeling super down in the dumps and stuck and you're like, everything I'm doing is crap, you can look to other people who are farther back on their journey than you. And I'm not saying, look, my stuff is great and their stuff sucks, that's why I feel better. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just saying, hey, giving yourself credit for what you have gotten through and where you are at. And you can do that a lot of times because our perspective is blurred by where we want to go. We're not always looking back at what we've already done. So sometimes you can use the help of other people without even them knowing it. So you look back to someone else who's in a spot where you've already kind of, you figured it, what they're trying to figure out now. And it just says, okay, makes you feel like, okay, I'm farther along than I think, even though I'm not where I want to be. And I've said this a million times, and I'll keep saying it, because if you ever get to the point where you're like, yeah, I'm there, that's it, I'm good, then you're definitely stuck. You always want to feel like, oh man, this stuff, I have so much more to learn. You always want to feel that. It's not a bad feeling. It is a bad feeling, but it's not a bad feeling at the same time. You know what I mean? It's just always going to keep you looking to make yourself better, to get to that next level. It's super, super important. psychologically too, you know. And it's 30 minutes. That goes by so fast. But hopefully that little soapbox was not too disjointed. We got a bunch done, even though, you know, it doesn't seem like it. I've got that whole little section locked in now. So we're just going to keep plugging away next week. We're going to jump back in on these two buildings and roll. So this is how the whole painting looks all together. And again, you are looking at where those buildings are. Those buildings are almost exactly an inch from the bottom of the panel. So that gives you an idea of the scale of what we're doing here. Yeah. So, you know the drill. If you would like to help us out, just click that like and subscribe. Hang out with us every Wednesday. Check out the videos that I've got online already. Yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy it. If you'd like to help us out in a more financial way, you can become a member here. You get early access to the time-lapse video that pops up every Tuesday. You also get a discount on my site as well. Patreon members get a discount as well. And I have a very cool plan for the Patreon members. They're going to get... there's an open studio video on there now just for them, and then I also have another idea for a special piece of content for them that's going to come out weekly as well. So if you want to get in on Patreon, you can do that as well. All right, so for Steve Leahy and Through Lachlan's Eyes, thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you guys next week.